your head on my shoulder.
Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing something new that I'm going to be doing on my channel a lot. I'm calling it Murder Mondays. Every Monday I'm going to post a murder case for you guys, and sometimes they'll be solved and sometimes they'll be unsolved. But yeah, I'm gonna do that every Monday. Sorry for this background, it's not the best background for this. I was gonna do it outside, but our air conditioning was too loud and I just didn't want it to interfere with the video. And if you hear a fly, I can hear it too. I don't know where it is though. It's somewhere around here. Without further ado, I think we should just get into the video. Today, I'm going to be talking about a solved case, but it was solved 27 years after the murder. And it's a very heartbreaking case, and maybe it's the fact that it's solved so we know all the details, but it's really sad. But I decided I'm going to do it. This case is about a boy named Jacob Wetterling. He was born February 17th, 1978 in Long Prairie, Minnesota. He was a son to two parents, Jerry Wetterling and Patty Wetterling, his mother and his father. So that's kind of some background information. So now I'm going to get into the story. On October 22nd, 1989, Jacob and his younger brother Trevor and his best friend Aaron were having a sleepover at Jacob's house. His parents, Patty and Jerry, were not at the home at the time. They were about 20 miles away in St. Joseph, Minnesota. At the house, Jacob's little sister was also there. They were all eating some pizza and having a good night while their parents were out. A little while later, Jacob and his brother and Aaron decided that they were going to go ask their parents and ask if they could go to a local Tom Thumb to get a movie. Jacob called his mom, and Patty originally said no because she didn't want anything to happen to Jacob or Aaron or his little brother Trevor. After Patty said no, Jacob decided to call his dad, and if mom says no, ask dad, or the other way around. So Jacob called his dad. He said, yes, you can go, but you need to wear a reflective vest and bring a flashlight. So Aaron and Jacob were both 11 years old in 6th grade, and Trevor was, I think, 10, and their little sister was 8. They didn't want the little sister to go with them since they had to ride their bikes, and it was about a 15-minute bike ride. They asked their next door neighbor, she was a teenage girl, and they asked her if they could watch his little sister while they went up to Tom Thumb. They went up to the store and they bought the movie The Naked Gun, and they bought some snacks, and then they went on their way back home. They were nearly home when a man stepped out of the dark with a gun. He was wearing a black mask, and he ordered the boys to throw their bikes in a ditch, get in them themselves, and lay face down in the ditch. The man then asked them how old they were, and he asked Trevor, and Trevor said 10 years old. The man told him to run as fast as he can and don't look back, and if he did or didn't run as fast as he can, he would shoot him. He then asked to look at the faces of Jacob and Aaron and chose Jacob. He told Aaron the same thing he told Trevor, to run and not look back, and if you don't run as fast as you can, I'll shoot you. Aaron then ran as fast as he could. He ran so fast that he actually caught up to Trevor, and when they looked back, Jacob and the man were already gone. The man then took Jacob into the darkness, and that was the last time Jacob was seen alive. Aaron and Trevor ran home as fast as they could. They told the girl that was watching Jacob's little sister that someone had taken Jacob. The babysitter for the little sister, essentially, she called her dad and told him what happened because she really didn't know what to do. The dad called the police. He put Trevor on the phone, and that's when Trevor told the dispatcher what he looked like.
Yes, this is Merlin Jerzak calling from in St. Joe, out in the township. I'm right now next door to my neighbors, the Jerry Wetterling family.
That's where you're coming from.
And some of their boys went down to Tom Thumb to pick up a movie, and on their way back, someone stopped them, and we believe that they have one of the boys because one of the boys did not come back with them.
So were they picked up in a vehicle?
Just a second, I'll ask, was there a vehicle there, or was he walking? They didn't see a vehicle. This person appeared on the road when they were bicycling back home.
Okay, what was Jacob last seen wearing?
He was wearing a red hockey jacket that had police department on it.
Trevor? You're talking to the sheriff's office, okay? I want you to give me anything you can recall about this male party that approached you guys, okay?
Well, he was like, he was like a man.
He was large?
Sort of.
Okay.
He had like a mixture of like nylon things as a mask.
Do you know what color it was?
Black.
A black mask? Do you know what color jacket he had on?
It was black too.
I have a deep voice, anything like that you can remember?
He has like a
Trevor,
pretty cold for him.
see any weapons at all or anything like that? Guns and knives?
He had a pistol.
At first, the police didn't take this seriously. They thought Trevor and Aaron were covering up for Jacob, or they were playing with a gun and accidentally shot him and trying to cover themselves up. But the truth was that a man did take Jacob that night. Soon after the abduction, there was a search party, and many people wanted to help, and they had a much bigger search later on, but we'll get into that later. They started a search party, and so many people wanted to help. Many people lined up holding hands across the street, and they would play his favorite song to see if he would come back, but there was no sign of Jacob. To start the search, the police went and tracked every step that they made. There was a gravel road that they had to walk on to or ride their bikes on to get to Tom Thumb. So they checked that, and they checked near his house and in the woods. The Wetterlings lived in a neighborhood where the houses were spread pretty far apart and everyone had a bunch of land, and it wasn't like a normal neighborhood essentially. Their search started 90 minutes after Jacob was abducted. They even sent out a helicopter to go and try to find Jacob. Searchers found footprints on the gravel road. They found one that appeared to be an adult footprint and one that looked like a child. And they also found tire marks. They didn't know if it was from the bike or from a car yet. The boys never recalled seeing a car. They just saw the man and he was on foot. They did not find Jacob at all that night, and they really didn't have any evidence either. There was a neighbor of Jacob's who lived right down the street from him. He was at the corner of the neighborhood by the gravel road. The police officer were looking in his firewood to look for Jacob, looking around his house. The neighbor thought that it was some kids or some people trying to steal his firewood. So he called the police, and the police just told him that it was police and they were looking for Jacob. He then decided to go out there and talk to him, and he started to help searching for Jacob too. At 3 a.m., only 6 hours after Jacob's abduction, the search was called off. This town was a tiny town, and so nothing really this bad happened in that town. So people were shocked that Jacob had gone missing. So everyone was helping with the search. They even wore little pins on their shirts to represent hope for Jacob and hope for finding him. They began another search, which was way bigger, and this is when the songs started playing, Jacob's favorite songs, to try to get him to come back, and a bunch of other things, just so maybe if Jacob was out there, he would come home. Police then started to ride on horseback, and many people were on foot, some were on cars. It was a really big search party. None of this helped though. They didn't find Jacob anywhere, and they didn't really have evidence. Jerry and Patty also did many interviews to get as many leads as they could. They had so many leads, and the police followed up on every single one of them. There was many suspects that they thought that did the crime, but none were charged into connection to Jacob. However, in 2014, the sheriff's office confirmed that there was many child molestations and abductions in the area during 2 years of Jacob's disappearance. The neighbor that I was talking about earlier, his name was Danny Heinrich, and His face was plastered everywhere. He was the main suspect. That essentially ruined his reputation because his face was everywhere and people thought it was him. There was another missing boy named Jared who was abducted a couple years prior to Jacob's case. They looked back onto Jared's case and they found DNA of Dan. They found the DNA of Dan on Jared. Though the statute of limitations had long expired for Jacob's case, the circumstances were enough for the search warrant to be granted. Investigators then went through Dan's house and found video of him molesting the children of his abduction. He essentially abducted about 25 kids. He was arrested October 28, 2015. On September 1st, 2016, he gave authorities the location of Jacob's body. It was in a pasture near Painesville. The pasture was about 30 miles from Jacob's home. When they went to the location, they found some human remains of Jacob and some of his clothes, one of being his very noticeable red jacket that he wore the day he went missing. In court, Dan then confessed to what he did. He said that he handcuffed Jacob and put him in his car and then told him to lay face down. So there was a car involved. That would explain the tracks on the gravel road. Before Dan was arrested and admitted to this crime, he told police when he walked out when they were checking his firewood and told him that he saw a car with headlights come by his house, and essentially that didn't matter because it was him all along. Dan then molested Jacob, and when he was done, he killed him. He then buried him in a gravel pit. A year later, he moved Jacob's body and put it in the pasture. Also in court, he admitted to abducting and molesting Jared as well. Dan was sentenced 20 years in prison. So that is the heartbreaking case of Jacob Wetterling. And everyone was so shocked. And to me, what's shocking is that it was solved 27 years after. Like, that's a long time, and like, to get closure after 27 years, that's just, I feel so bad for that family. I'm also just gonna tell you a little bit about Jacob. He was in the 6th grade and he loved football, and the day of his disappearance, it wasn't a normal day. He got to do some pretty fun stuff with his dad. He loved going fishing with his dad, and he went fishing that morning and then they went ice skating after. So it was a pretty good day for Jacob, and I just feel so bad for him and his family. And that's basically the story of it. So I hope you guys liked this video, and I'm going to be doing this every Monday. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. And I'll see you guys in my next video.
Today, October 12th, I'm 5 feet tall. My whole name is Jacob Irvin Wetterling. My favorite food is steak. My favorite color is blue. My favorite thing to do most is watch football.